Who is the most obscure comic character you can think of? A lot of people will probably think of characters that are almost popular for being obscure, such as Slam Bradley or other Golden Age characters like Dan Garrett. Some people might come up with characters with under 100 appearances. The occasional person might think of a really obscure character, likely from the Golden or Silver Age. But these are all subjective answers to a subjective question. Surely there couldn't really be an objective answer. There are plenty of comic characters with single appearances. It would be impossible to figure out who is the most obscure. But that is exactly what I set out to do. About 3 months ago, I began spending as much time as I could looking through old graphic novels, comic magazines, and newspaper strips. I wanted to find the most obscure comic character I could. But it couldn't just be some background character. That would be too easy and would make this video 3 seconds long. So I set a couple rules first. First, I want to explain who I am and why I decided to do this. I'm Rhinohorn7. I'm the guy that's currently at the 1 month mark of an 18-year journey to read every DC comic ever released, which is part of the reason I feel I'm the best guy to do this. Now, back to the rules. Like I said, I don't want this to be a 5-minute video where I talk about some random background character that has no relevance to anything. That would be boring and honestly not doing the question justice. So I decided on 2 major rules. First, the character has to be a major character, preferably a main character, of whatever comic they are in. Second, they had to be a named character with dialogue. Pretty simple rules, but they made finding the answer feel much more satisfying, not to mention a lot more difficult as well. How the hell does any of this make sense? How could any character be more obscure than one appearance, especially if you're not counting background characters? What if I told you I didn't just find someone obscure? I found a ghost. A character so forgotten, so erased by time that his only evidence of existing is an ad for a comic that never came out. I'll explain that more later. First, to fully understand why I'm talking about this, we have to go all the way back in time to 1922. A young major in the army named Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson was court-martialed for writing an open letter to the president criticizing the army command. He was forced to return home and became a writer. He released a full book called Modern Cavalry, and he began writing short stories for pulp magazines. He became a decently big name for the time, founding his own company in 1925, named after himself, publishing a daily strip that adapted Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. Then came 1935. After seeing the rise in popularity of comic magazines, such as Famous Funnies, Malcolm Wheelerson had an idea. He founded National Allied Publications with the intention of revolutionizing the comic industry. Comic magazines of the time consisted of reprinted material from newspapers. Original material was usually sprinkled throughout to fill out the pages, but it was still pretty rare. This made the release of New Fun #1 in February 1935 the first time ever a comic magazine contained all 100% original material. Wheeler Nicholson wasn't alone, however. He hired and licensed many different artists and writers to help write stories to fill out pages of New Fun. One of these people was Adolphe Barreau, a young African-American writer. He was a very good writer. His biggest contribution to New Fun was Magic Crystal of History, a story that followed 2 kids that discovered a crystal ball in their attic, which transported them to different times and eras. Magic Crystal of History was one of the more popular parts of New Fun, and it was due to this popularity that Barreau was called upon when it came time to release a new comic series, Feature Comics. Now, I have a lot of personal beef with Feature Comics. I hate that magazine. I hate it so much, but I'll try to hold myself back for now. I want to talk about Adolphe Barreau himself for a second. He was born in 1899 Charleston, the son of Adolphe Barreau Sr. and Keats Barreau. Not much of his life is documented, but it is known he graduated from the Yale School of Art and began working at National Allied nearly right out of school. He worked in and preferred the detective genre of comics, although he did foray into the occasional adventure. From what I can find, he'd spent most of his life drawing at every chance, hoping one day that a character he created when he was 9 could make it to print. It was in August of 1937 that this would finally happen. Now, just to, pull us out a little bit, a lot of the upcoming information is shaky at best. Most of it is taken from an interview with a publisher of National Allied, Harry Donenfeld. Barrow and his character are never specifically mentioned, so I'm making some assumptions here and taking just a tiny bit of creative liberty. But I think most of my information is likely accurate. August of 1937 is when issue 1 of Feature Comics was beginning to be planned. It was set to feature adventure, comedy, and mystery stories equally, the publisher hoping the variation in genres would boost its popularity. It was then that Barrow was approached by Harry Donenfeld, and he was asked to create a fun detective story for issue 1 of Feature Comics, which was set to release in September. This was it. Finally, it was Barrow's chance to publish the character he created, loved, and cherished for so long. Morgan Bradley. This is the only image I could find of Morgan Bradley, taken from an advertisement in New Fun for Feature Comics number 1. From what I can tell, he was set to be some sort of adventure detective character. We can see in these two panels, he's fighting some kind of giant insect, probably an ant. My hypothesis on what this comic could have been is that he utilized some kind of shrinking technology to solve crimes, and that's why the ant looks giant. But truly, I have no clue what this comic would have been about. Nobody does. And that is because Morgan Bradley's first appearance can't be found online. In fact, it can't be found anywhere. Feature Comics was cancelled before releasing a single issue. Donenfeld wasn't confident it would do well, especially looking at the sales of their other two titles at the time. It was replaced by Feature Funnies in October, which would eventually be renamed back to Feature Comics years later. Feature Funnies was much more comedy-focused, so there wasn't really any room for Morgan Bradley. And so, he would never get his first appearance. Barrow worked in the comic industry for years after the fact, but he never tried to get his creation to print again. He lost all confidence in it. And so, Morgan Bradley, who likely could have had some level of popularity, who maybe could have had fun stories and adventure, was forced to have his only appearance be an advertisement for a comic that never released. Even the advertisement itself is obscure, located in More Fun Comics number 25, a random issue of a comic only brought up by people who want to prove they have some deep level of knowledge on comics. It's kind of tragic, really. A creator spends decades dreaming of bringing his character to life, and then when the chance finally comes, history erases it before it even happens. What if I told you it isn't tragic? What if I told you this entire video was a waste of your time? What if I told you every single thing I've said for the past 8 minutes was a lie? Because it is. The only part of this that is true is that Malcolm Wheeler Nicholson created National Allied, and that Adolphe Barrow wrote Magic Crystal of History. Nearly everything else is a lie. That ad for Morgan Bradley, not an ad, that was just 2 panels from New Fun number 2, featuring a character with about 50 appearances named Don Drake. A character Barrow did not create or ever write for or ever draw for. Morgan Bradley is just the last name of Slam Bradley mixed with the last name of his partner, Shorty Morgan. Feature Funnies wasn't originally Feature Comics at all. It was always set to be comedy focused, and it was always called Feature Funnies. There was no interview with Harry Donenfeld. I completely made that up. Harry Donenfeld was the publisher for National Allied, but he didn't do an interview where he talked about... What? That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. Even the name of Adolphe Barrow's mother, Keats Barrow, was a lie. It was just the name of some other comic writer with Adolphe's last name stuck at the end. I didn't spend 3 months researching this video. I made it all up in 2 days. My research consisted of finding some random comic writer from the 30s that I knew no one would recognize. And the funniest part of all this, really, is that if I never clarified this was a lie, you would have gone on spending the rest of your life probably believing everything I said. Honestly, let's be honest for a second. You weren't gonna fact check me. You believe me. You believe me. And hey, I got you. I got you. I got you. I fucking got you, dude. I fucking got you. You fucking believe me. I fucking got you. I win. 1-0. Me. I win. I'm better than you. I'm smarter than you. I know more about comic books than you. You don't know who Don Drake is. You don't know who Sandra of the Secret Service is. You don't know who Jack Woods is. I am better. You lost. I won. I fucking got you. I fucking got you, kid. Okay? I fucking got you. So, not to be too cocky, but, I win, is all I'm trying to say, is I fucking got you. Not a gloat or anything. I'm not saying, you lost. I'm just saying I won. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying I won. I'm not saying you lost. I'm not saying you're wrong for falling for it. I'm just saying that I won. No, ain't nothing wrong with me winning. Nothing wrong with me winning. Just, I fucking got you, man. I got you. I don't know what else to say. I got you. Right? You know who else gets you? All the time. You know what inspired me to make this video actually was comic book TikTokers. Okay? Because they lie all the time. They lie all the fucking time. And it's so easy. Everybody believes them. Everybody believes them. They just say shit. There was one guy who took some fan art off fucking Twitter and said, hey, guys, this is a new look at Absolute Robin. This is a leak. I found this leak of Absolute Robin. People just believed him because none of them are reading Absolute Batman. None of them are doing that. So they just believe shit. They just believe shit. They just believe everything. It's so easy. This should have been a TikTok video, not a YouTube video. It would have been 10 times easier to fool those guys. I would have had to do half as much work. All I have to do is talk for 2 minutes about the fucking fake character, and they all believe me. But, anyways, I fucking got you. I'm better. I fooled you. I tricked you. I bamboozled you. I fucking got your ass, man. Anyways, the one thing I didn't lie about during this video, well, not the one thing, there was a couple shoots in here, but the main thing I didn't lie about in this video is that I am currently 1 month into an 18-year journey to read every single DC comic ever released. If that interests you in every way, consider subscribing, maybe. I drop daily videos reviewing said comics, so, it would be cool if you did that. And if you don't want to, then don't. You can just wait 18 years and come back and check in and see if I did it. You can also do that. That's also a completely fine option. Make sure you do have to come back in 18 years, though. That's like, you have to do that part. Okay, you can't just never come back. You have to come back in 18 years, at least, at the bare minimum. You owe me that, because I won. So you owe me that. But you don't have to subscribe. You can just come back in 18 years if you want. Or you can, you can watch the videos now. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I'm Ron7. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace! I fucking got you. Oh my god, you're so gullible.